Come, my subject. That's an intro right there. Hello.
Looking good.
You are in my audience. Great.
You have a nice throne there, but not the best throne.
Damn it, that's true. Okay, so, hello.
Hello.
I understand we're going to be recording something to do with the WARclaw today.
That's right.
And
WARclaw
yes,
came into the game 2 weeks ago.
It's like 2 weeks ago. I don't have the WARclaw.
Oh
all right?
my god.
I'm sorry. I don't have it. What can I say? My server's dead. My server's dead. You've let me down, Dragon Brand.
I don't believe you. I think you're just lazy.
No. In all truth, in all honesty, I do want to do it, but I want to sit down and do it all together. I was thinking about recording, doing it. No, there's a whole system, all right, and it means
Sure, yeah, whole system, yeah.
it means I don't have it yet, but you do. And
I do, and I would like to talk about it with you.
You've made a whole build around the WARclaw.
I've made several builds around the WARclaw. This is the one that I like using the most for the things I'm doing with it.
Okay. So what do you want to explain to the audience how it works first of all, or
no? First, I want to ask you, what do you know about the WARclaw?
Okay. I know that it can finish people. I know that it can pull on gates, but its cost supply and it's not that good. I know that it's pretty good for actually like. If you're roaming, it's kind of like a second health bar for you to stop you getting one shot, because instead the WARclaw gets one shot and then you can leave, kind of thing.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, kind of. You're still in combat, so you'll still have to get away.
I know it had its speed nerfed really quickly, and I also know that it had its jump distance nerfed because people were using it to break behind walls and stuff. I know that it dies quite nice. I know they released a skin that people couldn't really tell the difference. In the skin versus...
All right, okay, you've gone through quite a few things. First of all, did you know that it used to, when you put in World versus World ability points in it, used to stomp 10 people and also give you the +1 extra from Bloodlust thing, but now that's
I know
down
about
to
the
3
Bloodlust
people.
thing. I covered when they nerfed that very quickly, that it used to actually give world scores, so it was like a really big thing, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know
it still gives world score because you're still killing people.
Yeah, but just not the bonus. I didn't know it does 10 targets. You could stomp 10 people at once with it, really?
It used to do 10 targets, now it's 3.
Wow, that's insane. Okay, and the other thing I know is the actual damage on it is pretty low as far as I was
It's not so bad. I think, okay, so that's the other thing. When you're on the WARclaw, you use the WARclaw stats, and no matter how much power or whatever you have, it doesn't matter.
So you can't augment his leap and stuff. Being a Condi player versus a power player doesn't...
Yeah, exactly. It's always going to be around, on a crit, 3,000 damage, I guess, unless the other person has more, the protection or whatever.
Okay. And I mean, I know general other mount interactions, like your boons will persist while you're mounted, like Guardians enjoy that luxury. But beyond that, I don't know.
Important note, your invisibility will persist on your mount.
Oh, hold on. So if I was a Mesmer and I mass invised you right now,
yeah,
you would stealth the WARclaws.
You'd stealth the WARclaws.
Oh, of course you would. That's so weird. Why have I never thought... That's how unengaging open world PvE is, that I've never considered stealthing an allied mount. That's really crazy to me.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting... I mean, I feel like the addition of the WARclaw into PvP... Well, not PvP, but World versus World... It really adds so many interesting elements to it in that...
Yeah.
It
seems to have taken some elements away from World versus World and definitely thrown it all in the air a little bit, but also introduced a lot of new elements that might be somewhat positive, like that thing I just said about the one-shot thing. That's kind of all right, actually. If as you're roaming around now, you don't get insta-burst by the Sikkim Soul Beast, you actually now just lose your mount and you get a chance to fight on. That's kind of healthy in a way, right?
So you have 2 endurance bars for your leaps, which are evades.
Okay.
Except for when you put more points into it, then it's 3. So really, it is not easy, unless you're like ganging up on them, to take down a WARclaw who's trying to evade you and run away.
So they're really good for escaping and regrouping with your large battle.
So it really, in many ways, like you said, it removes some things from World vs. World, and one of those things is the necessity for every player to have a way of going fast and getting away from things.
So that's a pro and a con though, right? Because obviously if all you love to do is roaming, all of a sudden, picking people off and stuff like that is a lot more difficult.
It gets a little harder. It gets a little more hard.
A little harder. It seems like it gets a lot harder, doesn't it?
I think it's still very possible to do, though. It's still
and
very
everyone
possible
moves.
to do.
The maps have essentially shrunk as well with this change, haven't they?
Not really. You don't like when it's not your territory. You don't go that much faster than being swift.
Oh, okay. So it moves faster in your territory. I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Oh.
So there's a lot of little things about the WARclaw. Another little thing, for example, you would probably already know that your traits don't work when you're on the WARclaw.
Right.
However, why do you think the Cavalier runes, the ones that when you use an engage ability, you get quickness for 5 seconds as well as a damage buff?
Yep. And they got
Why
nerfed, right?
And those got, yeah, so that was really disappointing for me, actually. I had like
I was
5
thinking that when I saw that. So it used to be you get 20% damage after using an engage,
Yes.
right, guys?
So some of my first iterations of builds for this was like pure burst
Nuke
power
someone.
builds, nuke somebody right after for 5 seconds after the thing. I'll tell you about one of those builds when we go a little bit further. But yeah, that got nerfed from 20% extra damage to 5% extra damage.
Oof.
So really, it doesn't like. It opens it up a little bit more. You don't have to be power necessarily anymore. You can do other things, but it is annoying.
But what were you trying to say? You were asking me. We were pointing out traits.
Right. So
don't work.
why do those runes work?
Well, because they're specifically built to... Are you telling me your build... Like, everything we've said so far just makes me so confused as to how you've made a build. I can imagine play styles and stuff.
It was a process. I gotta tell you the whole process.
Okay, so why do the runes work? Because runes are allowed to work? Is that what you're trying to say?
All runes work. with the
Oh,
WARclaw.
okay, hold on. And we mentioned stealth earlier.
Uh-huh.
So,
I
are
don't know
you...
where you're going with this.
I think I know where... Can I go the whole thing?
I don't know. You're doing something weird that I don't know where you're going. But
Are
continue.
you using trapper runes to drop traps and stealthily get on the WARclaw, move somewhere else, and the stealth persist or something?
No, but that is something you can do.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I said, there are a lot of options with the WARclaw. And I've just narrowed down on one of them that I'd like to talk about, but I'll go through 2 iterations of things that I did before getting to here.
Right.
And what you just mentioned is not one of the things that I did while getting to here, but it's one of the things I've seen out in the world while fighting.
People using traps with the mount, right?
People using traps with the mount, mostly, what's it called? Dragon hunters using traps and those runes with the mount and going crazy, a huge amount of power damage. And
The benefit here being that you can drop the traps, get on the WARclaw, and now you can kind of DPS while you're on it because you can bait someone onto your trap. And then
and hopefully knock them off their mount and then come on them afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but it's like I said though, it is very difficult to get people off of the WARclaw mount if they know you're there and they see you coming.
Okay, so you didn't really like that too much.
It's okay. It's an okay thing to do. So I'll tell you what I did now. Okay.
All right. Okay. Come on. You've left me. I'm chomping at the bit here. I'm so confused.
This is what I did. I went.
Okay.
First I went obvious choice, using those Cavalier runes, using that coffee that gives you additional quickness when you dismount. So I would have 10 seconds of quickness and 5% extra damage. Unfortunately, not 20% extra damage. And I went warrior. Pure YOLO damage build, power damage build, 2 axes.
What made you
great
choose
sword.
warrior over other things?
Well, because warrior has the ability to make none of your attacks blockable for 4 or 6 seconds with just a button. They also have pretty much permanent stability with just a button. They also have resistance with just a button, so you can just tap those 3 buttons. And you have a ton of extra damage. I think it has probably one of the highest burst potentials with its axe skills.
Right.
And so with that, you could just create havoc and do as much damage as possible, possibly kill a bunch of people, and then just leave.
Okay.
It works. It's fine. It's not bad. However, if you're trying to get somebody off of a WARclaw, it's not great. Because you don't have enough damage to take out a WARclaw before he sees you coming and just evades away, and then you're a melee warrior and you can't really catch up to them.
Right, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, so that is why I moved off of the burst warrior. Then, so while I was using the warrior, I noticed a thief, Deadeye, going around having some fun, in that if they land the judgment
Death
shot,
judgment, yeah.
that's pretty much a one hit knock off a WARclaw.
Okay, that sounds fun, like duck hunting.
Exactly, like duck hunting. So that's a fun thing to do too.
Well, that's not a WARclaw build. That's a counter WARclaw build, isn't it?
But that's it. That's it. Roaming now is either WARclaw build, which is you go in with a WARclaw and engage and create havoc. But more importantly, it should be counter WARclaw, because if you want to be like an annoying roamer taking care of people, everybody's going to be on a WARclaw.
So sorry, your build is a destabilized WARclaw build.
It has to be nowadays if you want to be a proper proper roamer.
Okay.
Killing people. Like, you could still roam and take camps and stuff without a destabilizer.
So then the question becomes, what's the best way to take out something that continuously evades?
That's right. So now you got your Deadeye Thief. It's a good idea. Deadeye Thief's a good idea. And I tried it for a little while. You could do it. Problem is, you have that big tell, you have that sound that comes out, and people could know the timing of Deadeye attacks, and you could dodge that pretty easily.
Okay.
So, although it works, it might not be the best possible choice. But what the Deadeye has over a lot of other things is, if you take them off their thing and they end up being a better fighter than you, it's easier for yourself to get away.
Right.
That led me to my second idea, which is completely off the beaten track for the rest of the stuff, which was going Minstrel Deadeye or maybe Valkyrie Deadeye.
Whoa, okay, I see. So
And going pure stealth, and I had a lot of fun actually for a little while, being stealth 99% of the time, and wading into two of the other servers' Zergs fighting each other, waiting until any team goes down, and stomping them and getting away.
On a WARclaw, you mean?
On a WARclaw. So I'd be going around with the WARclaw, being
stealth WARclaw, I see.
And then the other two teams would be dying. They're doing all the work to kill each other.
Yeah.
And you swoop in with your WARclaw, finish them,
and get the world points for your...
Get the world points for your thing. I think they would also get some world points, but you get your world points for free, basically.
Okay,
they do all the work, and you just reap the benefit.
That sounds pretty fun.
It was a lot of fun. But I wasn't having enough fun taking on, like, smaller amounts of people, and it's not always that easy to
basically
find.
That's the ultimate vulture build you just described there. That is literally picking at corpses.
Yes.
Like you're scavenging.
Yes, and I'll probably have links for that warrior build and for the, just the Deadeye stealth build somewhere in the description. But the one I want to talk about is this one, which is not Vulture. You do everything yourself. It has to be destabilizing, otherwise you're never going to get people off their mounts. And that is a Weaver build.
Okay, so you're coming to Weaver. That's a twist I didn't expect.
I know, it's a little weird. And I was also very surprised that I came to this as well. But I like it a lot. It's not too weird. I think it's something that people have used before. But it just works. And the reason it works is because of a little skill called Signet of Fire.
Signet of Fire, right. Yeah, I do see that on your bar at the moment. So this skill's great. I actually think this is one of the least healthy skills in the entire game. But people don't realize it because on an average level, Condi Ellie builds aren't taken seriously, right? But this thing has no really great animation or projectile, whatever. You can see the signet above their head, obviously, but it's a very short cast time. 1200 range, and I mean, Boots, mouse over your tooltip. What is that? What is that reading for you? I'm guessing you're a Condi build.
Yeah, here it's usually around 1800 damage. I'm not using my food right now. 18,000 damage, sorry.
Okay, so wait. So you've passed so you cast the signet, and you kill a WARclaw with that. Because it's a Condi, they can't dodge it.
They can't. Well, they can't dodge it because it's really hard to see, as opposed to like the Deadeye shot and stuff like that. They can dodge it.
Yeah, you can dodge the impact, but once the Condis are on there, they can't. They can't
get that off.
Yeah. So.
And more importantly, so as a WARclaw, when you're on a mount, you have no way of cleansing conditions.
No, interesting. Do you get the when you're on a WARclaw? Do you get the season masteries? I'm guessing you don't, right? You can't, obviously, surely.
No, you don't. You don't.
Right, so you don't even get the heal.
You don't
And
even
that
get the
doesn't
heal.
cleanse as well, I was going to ask. Okay, so you pick people off, but not with Death Judgment, but with Signet of Fire.
Signet of Fire, 1200 range, almost no animation. They get hit by it, and they burn to death. They keep on...
That's 5 target AoE as well. Have you ever got more than one WARclaw at once?
I have.
Really?
Yes, of course.
Dude, that's awesome. Well, I don't know how
so,
closely they... I mean, they have to be pretty stacked on top of one another. On a map.
I mean, people run around in Zergs on WARclaws all the time.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you just pick off like a group of stragglers. So, but the
and
issue
then you
is...
just have 5 players to fight.
So, exactly. That's exactly the problem. So here we go. I made this build because I was like, hey, Signet of Fire is the perfect way to dismount things. That was step 1.
Okay.
And then the question is, what do I do once I dismount them? That's the important part, I think.
Cool. Well, you're on a Condi Weaver, which if you build it right, can be pretty sustainy and pretty jewelly.
Pretty sustainy and pretty, yeah. And that's what I did. So, like with a Deadeye Thief, like I said before, if you dismount them and then don't know what to do afterwards because they're too strong, you could get away pretty easily. With a Weaver, you can't really get away. So you have to be able to kill them or be really annoying. And that's what I'm doing.
So this is really weird, Boots, because I was thinking purely about like interactions with the mount. One thing I thought you were going to say is you were going to run a Weaver that uses like primordial stance and then gets on the WARclaw, so you can Condi DPS people by riding next to them and stuff. That's not at all on your mind then, no?
No, but you could do that.
Okay. That's where I thought this video was going, but it's all about actually ripping people off of their mounts and then fighting them.
That's right. And
because also very practical.
What's also really nice about Signet of Fire is that, so like let's say you're chasing somebody on the mount, you're running around a mount, I'm following you on a mount.
Yeah.
And then I quickly dismount, I use my Signet of Fire, but you dodge it, right? So dodge in 3, 2, 1, oh, you're out of range, doesn't matter.
Yeah, well,
so you dodge it, but I'm still following you. Since you dodged it, I'm not in combat. Neither of us are in combat. I could just remount right away and continue following you.
I see, so you can just try your luck and then get back on.
I could keep doing it. I actually have a part where someone was running from me for like a minute, no, like 30 seconds or something, and I eventually got him because, yeah, he just didn't dodge at some point.
Can I just ask, once you land the Signet of Fire, how many seconds is it before they are inevitably demounted?
So it's about, a mount is around 10,000 health, unless they're using runes that give you 10% health bonus.
Okay.
Which Balthazar runes are, which is part of this build. So it's a nice little bonus for me too.
So you're a little bit tankier on your WARclaw, I see.
Yeah.
So my question is though, if you use that technique, do they get like 5 seconds to keep sprinting away? Is that ever meaningful? Does that let them get into a tower or into a keep?
No. So what? Well, I mean, if they're running towards a keep, yeah, they could get in there. They'll get dismounted within the keep, yeah.
Okay, yeah, but often they don't get to safety using that technique.
Often they don't get to safety, yeah. So the issue is, it'll be like 7 seconds, maybe 6-7 seconds for them to get dismounted. In that time, they're running further away from you. If you mount up, your condition damage goes away. So the damage it does is down to 500 per second instead of like 1500 per second.
So, hold on. I've got quite a bit of Condi damage and duration here. Can we go into this little arena and can I cast it on you to demonstrate to people what this looks
Absolutely.
like? I'd love to see.
Let's give it a shot.
Okay, so I'll join the red team and go on in. And you just WARclaw up. So I'm just going to cast it on you, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
How much damage is your thing doing right now?
11k. So actually much lower than...
It's less than my WARclaw right now. You need more damage, buddy.
Okay. Well, I mean, what do we... We're close.
Oh,
yeah, we got it.
We got it.
I mean, I'm not even really, I'm not even spec'd that much for it here, really.
Yeah. And so there you go. I mean, I had no way of getting rid of that.
Wow. Okay. Cool. Well, there you go. That's a demonstration right there. Even on, rubbish gear and so on.
So then you have to kill them. You'll easily catch up to them because you will leave if they go far enough away from you, running away with the WARclaw while they're getting burned. You will leave combat, but they won't. So just before they get dismounted, you could mount right back up, and while they're getting up, you'll have caught up to them again.
Okay.
And then you fight them, and since the Signet of Fire is 5 targets, I had to make a build that could try to take on, 3 or more players.
Right, okay, so you're going very sustain-y. You're going, you got to have a way to get your health back. Lots of gap creators.
But more
evades.
importantly, I also made this build with the knowledge that everybody and their mother is currently running a roaming WARclaw burst build with a ton of physical
Power.
damage.
I see, and I'm looking at you right now. I see you have Stoneheart.
That is correct. So while I'm ganking people in my own way, slowly, methodically, other people are trying to gank me in their own way and get severely surprised when they realize they do no damage to me.
Yeah, because they can't crit you, right?
Yeah, so their whole build, like a lot of people are running like these crazy bursty power builds right now, and their whole builds get nullified because of Stoneheart.
Right, nice. I like it. There's a lot coming together now.
So this is why I love this build right now.
Okay.
I love this build right now.
So
I'll
do you want to run through the
now.
specifics?
Let's go through it. Yeah, let's go through it. Okay. All right. So Stoneheart, you cannot be critically hit while attuned to Earth. This is a supremely powerful skill. The only problem is until Weaver came out, nobody really wants to stay in Earth that long. So it was hard to use because you would have to stay in Earth for it to be effective. With Weaver, there are so many ways to juggle your attunements to be in Earth for a very long time, yet still have effectiveness of your secondary attunement. And also, when you're switching through attunements to get off of Earth, you have a lot of mitigation that you can get back to Earth without getting hit before that.
Yeah, like evades. I'm assuming you're sword main, so you'd have like evades and war and stuff, right?
Exactly. So Weaver is where Stoneheart finally shines. Then I go Strength of Stone, actually.
Okay.
So I get condition damage based on a percentage of my toughness, and with my equipment currently, I have 2,200 points.
What's your offhand as well, just to be clear? I don't even know what the full weapon says.
Sorry, it's Sword Focus.
Okay.
Sword Focus. So then we got Strength of Stone, we get a bunch more condition damage, 220 more condition damage. And then Earth's Embrace, that means when you hit 50% health, cast a cantrip, break stun, gives you 10 stacks of stability and protection for 6 seconds.
Okay.
Then, let's talk about water.
Okay.
This is a very straightforward build. It's just, it all culminated into making it perfect for WARclaw Rogue.
I mean, you got double defensive line plus Weaver here, so it's obviously a dual kind of thing. Go on.
Yeah, and then so you got Cleansing Water as your Grandmaster. Cleanse conditions cleanse conditions from allies you grant regeneration to. That includes yourself. Then Cleansing Wave, when you swap the water, you remove a condition for you and 5 targets. And finally, I have Stop, Drop, and Roll. Whenever I dodge roll, remove Burning and Chill.
Well, interesting. You're running Stop, Drop, and Roll. That's very curious.
Why?
Well, because Soothing Ice procs your Grandmaster for easy extra cleanse. The Frost Aura is good for all the reasons Stoneheart do.
Yeah, but it's on a 20-second cooldown is the problem.
It's still really good. Also, the chill slows their cooldowns and stuff, when
that's true. That's true. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
But anyway, it's not my turn, right? It's not my turn
Not
to say
yet,
anything.
not
yet.
yet.
So, yeah. I really like that you're running Stop, Drop, and Roll because I think that's such a cool idea for a trait I've just never really properly gone for. So, yeah.
And then finally Weaver. And with Weaver, you're playing into the synergy with the water line, which is, well, first of all, for your adept, you got Elemental Pursuit. You get super speed when you inflict inhibiting conditions. And then for your master, you've got I'm taking bolstered elements. So whenever you activate a stance, you get stability, and at 50% health, you get a bunch of barrier and stability.
Yeah, I really like this trait.
Me
So,
too.
what's kind of there? What you're saying, by the way, is you don't need the Condi duration from Weaver's prowess. You've built that in your gear.
That's right. And then finally, Woven Stride as your Grandmaster. Whenever you give swiftness or super speed to yourself, you also gain regeneration. And so that ties in nicely with the Cleansing Water. So that means every time you get super speed, regeneration, or swiftness, you remove a condition from yourself.
Yeah. So all kinds of amazing stuff starts happening, like your air auto attacks start cleansing and all this crazy stuff.
And also you get swiftness when you're inflicted with a immobilizing condition, inhibiting condition. So
Which would immediately remove it.
exactly. So yeah, you are pretty tanky, both physically because of Stoneheart, and conditionally as well because of this little combo. Yeah, because of this combo you got with Woven Stride and Cleansing Water. So where's the damage come from, though?
Are you asking me?
I am asking.
Well, I think that you just get reasonable damage on your weapon skills in the condi that you build into your stats. I mean, you're quite people might not have an appreciation for this, but you're very, very close to a kind of a condi weaver side nodey PvP build, which again, on the face of the traits, you wouldn't really see much condi pressure. But the weapon skills themselves push you over the line. Over enough time, you win out.
That's absolutely right. You've got 1,500. So I'm basically taking mostly dire stuff.
Dire,
armor.
man. Oh my god. When I used to do a lot of I used to play Condi Chrono in World vs. World, and Dire was the stat set. It's gross, man.
It's rough. It's rough. So with Dire, you get toughness, vitality, and main stat condition damage.
So just super tanky, but stacked on the Condi damage, which is
right.
all you need.
Yeah, and but I've mixed in a little bit of apothecary stuff. So main stat toughness, but you get healing power and condition damage instead of vitality.
Okay, nice.
And so you end up with around 18,000 health, and still ridiculous amount of toughness, 2,200, and around 1,500 condition damage. And because you're using Balthazar runes, you're using Smoldering Sigil, you're using Malice Sigil, and you're getting that food that gives you another 15% burning duration, as well as Corsair tuning crystals, which gives you a little bit more expertise based on your toughness.
Okay, well, what's the food called again?
The food is bowls of fire meat chili. Gives 15% burning duration and a little bit of precision. And then the tuning crystal is a Corsair tuning crystal, which gives 3% of condition damage based on your toughness, and 3% expertise based on your toughness.
So where does that put your burn, which is the really big one, right? Where does that put your burn duration now?
Well, my burn duration is at 100% because I put in a couple of expertise World vs. World infusions.
Oh, nice. So you brought it right up to the line.
Yeah, it's 100%.
Cool.
100% 0.26.
All right, so 100% burn duration. The other ones are lingering a reasonable amount of time as well, with lots of condition damage, and everything else is just tanky out the ass, which allows you
around 600 healing power as well.
So that allows you to fight outnumbered.
That's right. So I don't know if you really need a mix of apothecary gear instead of. You could probably just go full dire because I don't.
Yeah.
You don't need that much healing power for this. Your spells that heal you are still relatively strong without any healing power.
Right.
But healing power doesn't hurt, and you're not reducing your vitality that much or your condition damage that much by going healing power.
Okay. Cool.
So the issue is, this build does all of its damage obviously from condition damage. So you are not going to have a fun time against the new Scrapper. The new Scrapper has so much Condi clear that you're just going to stalemate them no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, another Weaver that has a bunch of Condi clear is probably also going to be another stalemate.
One thing you haven't said, by the way, just before this, is your utilities. So before this gets
utilities. So obviously you got Signet of Fire for that 18,000 burning damage.
Yeah.
You've got Primordial Stance.
Okay.
And the good thing about Primordial Stance is that it takes both of your currently attuned attunements into account when it's doing its thing. So you could have your Stoneheart going on and have offhand fire, which means that you're still doing your burning damage.
Oh, that's nice. That's a nice little combo there, yeah.
And then finally, Aquatic Stance as your healing skill. I feel like it's better than Signet of Restoration with the trait because of the stability, and also, especially with this build in particular, because you're not wasting any healing. You're only using it when you go down a little bit.
That's really interesting, because that's such a terrible choice in PvP. You'd always go Signet, but you have a really good point. Wild versus Wild, the stability might be worth a bit more, and I like how things shift there. That's cool.
Yeah, this is a little bit better for me. And then for your elite skill, you have a choice. I have been using Weave Self mostly.
Okay.
And the reason I do that is not for the benefits of like woven fire, woven water, all that in perfect weave. Those are all fine. Those are great. But the most important thing about weave self is the fact that while it's going, the recharge time of your attunements is only 2 seconds instead of 4. So you are able to swap through your attunements, use the skills you want to use, and get back to Earth much faster than you, like, you're never stuck out of Earth.
So that's cool. It's a Stoneheart build, so the weave self has synergy with that GM.
It works really well with weave self, yeah. That's cool. And if you don't want to use weave self, you would use Conjure Fiery Greatsword, because let's say you just want to stick in Earth and don't want to go off of Earth because you're too afraid of something, you can put down your Conjure Fiery Greatsword and have a bunch of damagey skills and still be in Earth.
Also, I was thinking FGS is nice just for World versus World to move, you know, just that can help you get around. Because you're pretty immobile, honestly, once you're off the WARclaw. If you're stuck in combat, FGS can help you with that.
Yeah, I agree.
That would mean as well, by the way, genuinely... Well, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry, another good thing about the way the WARclaw works with Signet of Fire is that when a WARclaw dies, due to the burning it does, the remaining burning duration transfers to the player.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's still doing 8,000 damage to the player.
Right, and forcing them to immediately open with a cleanse or some kind of resustain tool, putting you on the advantage at the start. That's cool.
Exactly. And so that's it.
Very nice. Okay. All right. So just to be clear, I'm at 18k health right now.
Okay. So you always want to start off Earth, Fire, so that you have your Stoneheart just in case someone's trying to burst you, and you have all your damage capabilities. You'll pop your Lava Skin. You'll pop your Primordial Stance. You'll pop your Signet of Fire. You'll put down your Flame Wall, stand still basically, because you're not going to be worried about dying, and you'll pop your Fire Shield and use its secondary ability. So let's just do a little bit of that, and yeah. So he's taking. Oh, you automatically cleanse something, but you still did it.
Yeah, because there's actually quite a. We're auto procking bolstered elements and Earth's Embrace on this build, right? Yeah. So there's actually quite a lot rolling through there.
So, but as you can see, this build does a lot of damage, even though it's so tanky.
Yeah, you have so little, it seems, invested in damage, but if you use the skills right, you can definitely burst them out, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, like, with a proper burst with this build on, let's say, a Sentry or something, the burning ticks will be going up to, like, 6.5k.
Yep, very
Yeah.
nice.
And so, as long as the other person doesn't have that much cleanse, you're going to win every fight, pretty much.
So you were saying Scrapper is a bit of an odd matchup, but are there any others that you have to watch out for?
Scrapper's an odd matchup. Sometimes Firebrand, but you could out DPS a Firebrand. You could out do it, like he'll run out of cleanses eventually. Weaver with the water Weaver combo will probably also have enough cleanse to stalemate you.
Mm-hmm.
That's about it. Oh, Druid. Druid also, not so much that it has enough cleanse to take care of you, but it has enough cleanse and mobility to get away from you.
So my instinct is, what you've basically built is really close to the PvP duelist Weaver variants. The sword focus, everything's kind of set up properly there. So when I look at why I would say it's bad and what's wrong with the build, it would actually simply come down to the differences with what you've done versus what's good in PvP. And I would ponder as to what those are. So basically, I kind of want to look at my traits. Hold on. All right, you can kill me now if you like. So basically, I want to talk about Earth, okay?
Okay.
What I'm wondering here is whether you considered Arcane.
Yeah.
So I know that probably what's really fun for you is the Stoneheart synergy. Okay, like you've thought about it in several places, like with the weave and.
It's not so much the Stoneheart synergy being fun. It's the necessity of
Okay, so
Stoneheart
yeah, I
with-
thought the conversation would go this way, and then we'll just have to agree to disagree because I'm not going to know any better. If you're saying you can't be viably around in World versus World unless you have Stoneheart because there's so much crazy power pressure, fine, I guess I can believe you on that. That's perfectly fine. What I would
right
say
now
though,
there is. Right now, with so many WARclaw roamers that are just there to jump on you and deal as much damage to you as possible.
well, what
it's
I think is if you've got Earth Runes, reasonable protection uptime, bit of Frost Aura uptime, I think, honestly, Stoneheart isn't that good on Weaver because you want to be able to be free to rotate through a lot of that other stuff as much as possible. And the rest of what you're choosing in Earth really, to me, doesn't scream that great. In the middle tier, you've gone with condition damage on toughness. There's no playmaking potential to that. I would pick Geomancer's Training to drop the cooldown of Obsidian Flesh. And that does exactly
I have done
what
that
you're...
in the past. I have done that in the past, and it's not a bad idea.
Yeah, cool. So, and I mean, that's even more Condi duration reduction on move speed ones, which means when your cleanses do trigger, they hit the damaging ones. So I really love Geomancer's Training. If I was gonna go Earth, I would probably be on that. Earth's Embrace is an interesting idea, and for World vs. World, I think could be really cool. Obviously, the ICD is more reasonable in World vs. World, and again, I think you have to value stability quite highly. So I kind of do like the idea of Earth, but
the other
Arcane
option is elemental shielding.
Arcane just offers so much. I mean, talk about attunement cooldowns dropping down. That's got so power, you without even having to rely on your elite. Evasive Arcana, man, you are the guy that first showed me Evasive Arcana. It's such a strong trait. The water dodge heals, everything about it, and there you're getting really good protection uptime straight away just from the master trait. I can't see because I'm in combat and I can't swap it around. But so Arcane to me is just like, I would go Arcane Water and then Tempest, like, every time. But, maybe when you get in there, Stoneheart is the way to go. And I do like Stoneheart, so,
It
I
really
almost
feels like Stoneheart is necessary right now. I think overall, you're right that Arcane would be a better build for most scenarios. But right now, when you're roaming alone in World vs. World, and you have a bunch of people with huge power builds coming after you, this is the best thing to do.
Well, here's the other thing I would put to you. What I tend to do from the PvP side of the game, when I know it's the power I'm against, and power is the big problem, even if there's a lot of Condi that I know I'm matched up against, what I like is with Arcane, which again has protection and stuff, and also offers you some cleanse with the water dodges, right? Offers you cleanse because there's swiftness when you go into air now, and then the swiftness can chain on your GM in Weaver if you wanted to. But when I usually go to power, one of the things I actually like to do is just look at the Weaver and swap the Weaver GM. You'd be surprised, even without Woven Stride, which, yes, is a lot of sources of regeneration for your cleansing water. Even without Woven Stride, you can pick up Invigorating Strikes and spam a lot of barrier up. And that's pretty good, too. And
It's
spam up even more
okay.
dodges via Vigor.
It's okay, but I think you underestimate how annoying a lot of power builds
Maybe
are
I
out
do,
there.
yeah. Maybe I mean the thing with World versus World is everything's so extreme, right? Like the damage is so, and I totally appreciate that. But what I'd also, my intuition would say, you're also super extreme as well. You're on Dire gear. Dire is insane. It's such a efficient stat set. So maybe the insanity of the burst and the insanity of the extra tankiness averages out to builds that are kind of similar. I like the idea of the World versus World variant being different. But those are the major things that I was thinking. And then lastly as well, not lastly, another thing I was thinking with water, we already talked about, but Stop, Drop, and Roll versus Soothing Ice. I'd probably pick up Soothing Ice myself.
Ice, yeah. I mean, one thing I did run for a little while before I didn't like it as much as what I was doing before was Soothing Ice and Elemental Shielding. That kind, with Elemental Shielding, auras you grant to allies also grant protection. That gave me a little more reason to run Soothing Ice for the Frost Aura.
Yeah, because you combo the two, right?
Yeah, so that together, those maybe are a good swap from what they currently are.
And if you were like Earth Runes, you get the other aura off of that, and the Earth Runes extend the protection from that trait. That's all fun. Another thing is if the build you have presented to me today is so overloaded massively with cleanse that I actually wouldn't take the water swap. I would the cleanse on swap to water. I'd actually take Aquamancer's Training to drop the cooldown of Sword 2 for more evades, and thus also more cleanse because the Sword 2 is regeneration. As the build gave it to me.
I don't go on water that often.
That's crazy to me. You don't go into water that much. Water to me is like the
That's because you're a arcane player and not a earth
the
player.
crutch of the build. Anyway, so that's one thing. And then the last thing, tell me your utilities again.
Signet of Fire, Primordial Stance, and Twist of Fate.
Okay, Twist of Fate. So I think that's perfectly reasonable, actually. I think the only thing that's difficult is you're squeezing Signet of Fire on there, which has come at the cost of Lightning Flash. But and Lightning Flash is a really powerful skill in any game mode.
Signet of Fire is the crux of the build.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to make that concession. So for what you're trying to do with the build, I can't complain with that. You have to give a utility.
And also, you know what? It's on a 15-second cooldown. Having 20k damage essentially on a 15-second cooldown is not so bad.
Yeah, the skill's insane. It's really good. People run Signet of Fire competitively. They even combo it with the Fire attunement line sometimes. I mean, really, it's good. It is not a bad skill. And I mean, I think it's unhealthy, as I said before, in the way it's implemented. But as far as efficacy for builds, it's fine. And you had to squeeze it in. You chose to go Primordial and Twist of Fate. I've got no problem with that. Especially in World versus World. Again, the stab and stuff. It's just, to have all three is really, really, really sweet. I think you made a really good choice with everything else. I'm super curious about your heal skill. I would favor the Signet by default, but, maybe you've got a really good point there. That's all I'd say with it, really.
I agree, and I just like to point out that this build is a lot of fun to play because you really feel the tankiness. You really feel the frustration that all the people who are just so used to killing things so quickly have trying to deal with you, and you especially feel the frustration of a guy running around on a WARclaw knowing that he'll never get knocked off, take a little hit that he didn't realize does anything, and then 7 seconds later has nothing, can't do anything about it, and gets knocked off.
The only other thing I would be instinctively skeptical of with the build is, hold on, wouldn't someone else cleanse the WARclaws? But you've not mentioned that, and you're the one that's played it, so people clearly don't do that. And even if they were to try and do that,
I have only once seen someone running around on a WARclaw with someone not on a WARclaw at the same time.
Cleansing them and helping them.
They're always all mounted at the same time.
And the thing with that is the guy that's responsible for cleansing is not able to keep pace with the rest, and you can pick him off. So that's the only thing I'd be skeptical of. But clearly, it doesn't happen much. So yeah, I can imagine
it's only happened once.
Really
I've seen a group of 2 people roaming around, one on a WARclaw, one not on a WARclaw, and I think it's because the guy who wasn't on a WARclaw didn't have it yet.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. So over time, this could be even stronger, Yeah. Over time, maybe the really gimmicky builds wean away a bit, and you can actually go arcane as well, which rounds it out even more, and it's just like the god build. But yeah, I love this kind of Weaver build, man. I think that this is the best way to play Weaver in the competitive formats, and you found a really cool application for it versus WARclaws. So yeah, that's
really
the most I could say.
I like it a lot, and I look cool. Look at me.
Yeah, you do.
Well, thanks for coming, man, and I'm glad that we agree this is a fantastic build.
Yeah, it looks good. It looks very close to what I sincerely believe are pretty good builds, and you found a really cool application for it. So this was fun. It's not what I was expecting. I feel like you cheated a little bit, Boots. I was expecting a Cavalier Runes Coffee WARclaw build.
I made one of those. It'll be in the description.
Right, I will be sure to click the link in the description.
It's not as fun. It's fun for a bit, but once you get your hands on this kind of just overrules it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, like one-on-one, a coffee WARclaw burst build will always lose to this.
Yeah. Alright, well, in the meantime, I'm gonna earn a WARclaw, and do you know what I intend to earn it on? Sick'em Soul Beast. Oh yeah.
Oh my god, and another thing that won't live up to this.
I reckon the variant of Sick'em Soul Beast I play could one-shot your build. If you weren't in Earth at the right time.
Well, that's it. I'm always on Earth.
So you just by default always walk around in Earth?
Yeah, absolutely.
Weird. That's strange. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. I'll see you later, man. Thanks a lot for coming.
All right. Thanks. It was good to be here. Have you got an idea for the next one, by the way?
Absolutely not.
Bye.
Bye.